I can explain. Well, no, not really. I've just kind of been slacking on content, but I just wanted to start this video off by saying content is on the way. I know I say that every time, but don't worry, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I have videos that are coming, and they're gonna be awesome and great and stuff. But in the meantime, enjoy the video. You know what? I feel like making people mad. I've been playing Jailbreak off and on since its release, and over that period of time, I've gathered a lot of opinions about the game, some of which a lot of people agree with, and some of which a lot of people don't agree with. Before we get into it, I want to clarify these are all my opinions. Obviously, you can disagree with these, and if you do, please let me know. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. So without further ado, here are my hottest Jailbreak takes. To start us off, I'm gonna go with the hot take that I give out the most whenever someone asks for a Jailbreak hot take from me. And that is that new Jailbreak is so much better than old Jailbreak. And I mean this in pretty much every way. We'll get to some exceptions in a minute, but in the meantime, I just think that new Jailbreak, mechanically, as a video game, is so much better. Especially with the return of OG Jailbreak last year, this just solidified this opinion for me. If I'm being honest, OG Jailbreak was kind of boring. And it might have been that they changed some things when they brought back OG Jailbreak and that it wasn't technically a straight rip, but I still found it underwhelming. New Jailbreak has better car models, in my opinion. It has better gun models. It has better sounds. It has better atmosphere. It has better mechanics, better balancing. There's really nothing I can think of in OG Jailbreak that was better besides bugs and community. Now, by bugs, I don't mean that bugs don't exist today, and I don't mean that bugs are always a good thing, but I will say things like the snowman glitch, among other funny glitches, especially like invisible glitches and stuff that don't really exist in popularity anymore today, were really fun to use. Now, that being said, they did break the game a lot, and so I'm kind of like glad on the whole that they're gone, but they were very fun to mess around with. To add on, the community in OG Jailbreak was, I don't want to say less toxic, because there's always going to be toxic players. Nothing you can do about that, unfortunately. But obviously, Jailbreak had a much more active and diverse community, and there were a lot more content creators, and it just allowed for a lot more interaction in places outside of Jailbreak for people to bond and make friends and whatnot. Some people say that the YouTubers were better back then, and as a modern-day Jailbreak YouTuber, I kind of want to disagree because I like my content. I think there's some people who make good videos still. I did like watching Jailbreak YouTubers back in the day that don't make content anymore. But those two things, bugs and community, aren't enough to bump up OG Jailbreak to be better than modern day Jailbreak. To kind of summarize, mechanically, as a video game that functions and plays and is fun to play, new Jailbreak supersedes old Jailbreak in every way. Okay, our next hot take is that the new Eclair model isn't bad. Now, I don't know if this is generally a hot take or not, but I remember when it first came out, everybody was dunking on it. Like, so many people disliked the model. And I just, why? What's wrong with it? I don't know, am I stupid? Like, I just don't, it's not like the best model in the game, and it might not be the most accurate to the car it's trying to be. But I think it looks cool, and that's about it for me. That's all I need from a car. I don't need it to resemble a real-life car. As much as I like having real-life cars in Jailbreak, I don't care if we get something that's not one-to-one every once in a while, you know? I just didn't understand any of the initial hate it got. It never made sense to me. And I can get that some people might be like, I don't really like this model. But to me, it was just the sheer amount of, like, just negativity surrounding that initial drop was just so confusing to me. So yeah, might not be that hot of a take. It might be a lukewarm take, if you will, but I still think that it's worth putting in here. Okay, next up, the newest limited vehicle, the Storm Rider, is one of the best cars in the game. That is probably pretty spicy, if I had to guess, but let me explain. Now, obviously, if we're going purely based off of stats, then it's not one of the best cars in the game, but it's still pretty dang good. However, in my experience driving it, especially lately, anytime I try to use a car that isn't that, it feels worse. And I think it's just because of how maneuverable the Storm Rider is. It has insane off-roading, crazy acceleration, and insane handling. It's so slippery. It's so fun to drive. It literally climbs over anything. Almost anything. It does it with such ease. It's super good for escaping cops. Like any other car that I use, except for in terms of top speed, feels worse now. I love driving this car, and I've come to the conclusion that it is just super solid and deserves to be recognized as one of the better cars in terms of just everyday movement and driving around in Jailbreak. It's one of the most viable picks to date. Next up, we have the age-old argument of camping. And my take is that camping is a viable strategy and not as annoying as people say. Now, I know that this is a hotly debated topic, kind of, in the Jailbreak community, and so a lot of people might actually agree with me on that. But a lot of people who don't agree with me are gonna say that it's a no-skill strategy. And I will admit, it definitely takes less skill than, like, other methods of arresting. But then, technically, you're no skill as well if you can just rob the thing and leave with no trouble, right? Camping adds a challenge to robberies, and it's not always going to happen. You're not always going to have campers waiting outside. And if you're in a server where there's a bunch of campers constantly harassing you, you can just switch servers, you know? Is it worth complaining about? I don't think so, because cops need easy ways to make money. Criminals have easy ways to make money. I think it balances out. If you're wondering, I don't think the cop team is OP. I know a lot of people have that opinion, but I don't think that's a hot enough take to put in this video. But I do feel like it relates to this. For me, when there's cops camping, I don't see it as, ugh, now I have to deal with these annoying losers. I see it as, now there's a challenge. Now I have to try to escape, and it's very likely I won't. But I have way more fun trying to deal with that issue than just walking out of the robbery and mindlessly waltzing into the criminal base to cash in my money. Okay, next up on the list is the bank. Specifically, I believe the bank is unbalanced and pretty unfair. That might be another lukewarm take, but I don't see enough people discussing this, in my opinion, so I'm gonna put it in here. So what do I mean by that? Well, I think bank pays way too little for how easy it is to arrest in there. Bank is the only robbery that has an auto-arrest, quote-unquote, feature. Being able to bust the bank as a cop gives you just kind of the opposite of a get-out-of-jail-free card, an instant send-to-jail-free card. And this insta-arrest move is only present in this robbery that pays sometimes less than other robberies that are easier to do. Additionally, it requires a key card to do, which is not always something you're going to have, and one of the banks is located in a very popular location. Now, all that being said, I don't dislike bank. In fact, it's one of my favorite robberies to rob, not because I like getting cash from it, but because, again, it's a fun challenge. I like the added difficulty of really having to be on your toes and stop cops from even reaching the vault. It creates a fun sense of urgency, and I really do enjoy robbing bank. But I'm just looking at this from a mechanics perspective. If we're trying to make a balanced game where it makes sense to rob certain robberies over others, or take a higher risk, higher reward situation, bank just doesn't make sense for that, because it's high risk and meh reward. Once again, I don't hate bank. In fact, as I said, I love robbing it. Maybe a little bit more cash wouldn't hurt it, though. Finally, the last hot take I want to throw in here is potentially the hottest one thus far. And that is that the robbery rotation system did not ruin the game. In fact, I think it's better this way. For those of you who don't know, robberies were completely changed in the fall 2023 update. Now, instead of robberies closing for a short bit when they were robbed and then reopening on their own, they were put into categories or groups. These groups are randomized and open together. And then when all of the robberies are robbed, or after 5 minutes of no robbing happening, I believe it's 5 minutes, I could be wrong on that, it switches to another group. This keeps the gameplay diverse, it keeps it varied, and it directs people's attention to specific areas of the map. I don't know about you, but I didn't like kind of sticking to the same high-paying robberies. In fact, now I play Jailbreak because I like playing the game, not because I'm trying to grind. While the old system might have been grindier, and we'll touch on that in a second, this one keeps it more genuinely fun. It forces criminals to work together and rob together at one of 3 set robberies in each group, and doesn't leave them scattered all over the map, robbing, doing their own thing, almost as if they're in a private server. This also makes it so that cops are hyper-focused on those robberies as well, and genuinely ups the challenge and fun of the experience, at least for me. Now, the only critiques that I have with this system are, A, grinding, but then again, this isn't even a critique I have, this is a critique a lot of people have. In which case, my response is, Jailbreak isn't a game that's fun when you mindlessly grind it. It's fun when there's cops hunting you, when you're trying to rob things without getting caught. This mindless kind of grinding when you're doing the same robberies over and over again, I don't know. I never had fun doing that. Now, if you do, that's perfectly okay, and I can understand why you wouldn't like this new system, because it prevents you from doing the same thing over and over again. My personal critique is that this does kind of end up dragging on sometimes. I don't know why Asimo decided to group Tomb with 2 robberies that are gone within 5 minutes. So then if you go to Tomb, it's too late to rob the other 2 by the time you're done. And if you go to one of the other 2, not only can you not get to the other moving robbery because it's already gone by the time you're finished with one, but Tomb might have been started by then, and it might be too late to even get to Tomb. That robbery group specifically is the one I take the most issue with. But there's always Donut and Gas, and sometimes Bank Truck that are available in between those, and so I think that gives it enough to switch it up. Also, there's airdrops, so you always kind of have something to do. Overall, I think the system is extremely overhated. I think people were way too negative about it initially, and I think it's just genuinely a better system for the game. So, those are my Jailbreak hot takes. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, please. I know people say that like in every YouTube video, but genuinely with this one, I really want to hear what you guys think. I want to know if you guys agree or disagree. I want to know what your guys' personal hot takes are. I'll be responding to your guys' as well, because I'm genuinely curious. But until next time, I'm its pick. What kind of sign off? I've never done a sign off like that before. But until next time, thank you for watching.